Good afternoon and welcome to the fifth and final Business Blockers Facebook Live. So I have been going live every day this week to talk about the five biggest business blockers that I've come across with all the people that I talk to. I'm a startup strategist, and so I talk to an awful lot of people who are in the early stages of their business. And of course, we talk about the types of challenges they're facing. These five things come up time and time again. And so I wanted to sort of chat about them and go into them in a bit more detail over the course of this week. So if you've been watching my Facebook Lives, you will have had the pleasure of seeing each of these five blockers, today being the fifth. So on Monday, I was chatting all about niche and finding the right niche for your business. Now, that was one of my biggest business blockers when I got started. I could not decide. I knew I wanted to focus on small businesses, but I couldn't get more niche than that, and it really did block me. I really struggled until I had that breakthrough. So finding the right niche is a big one. Then on Tuesday, I was talking about planning and prioritization. And this is the whole issue of not knowing what to do next, of not knowing what your next step should be, not knowing how to get from A to B. And again, this is an issue that comes up time and time and time again. And it's completely understandable because there is so much information out there and so many different voices telling you that you must prioritize different things. You've got to be building your email list. You've got to be blogging, podcasting, sales funnels, Facebook Lives, Facebook ads, so much stuff. How on earth are you supposed to know which of those you should be doing and when you should be doing them? So that was Tuesday's Facebook Live. Then on Wednesday, we talked about mindset. We talked about imposter syndrome. So that whole feeling that you're never going to succeed. You're never going to match up to everyone around you who you're comparing yourself with. Who do I think I am to be doing this? Who do I think I am to think that I could make money by doing this? Nasty imposter syndrome that creeps in and sort of all these sort of self-doubts. So that was Wednesday's episode. And then yesterday, another favourite business blocker that comes up an awful lot, and that's time. First of all, how to find enough time for your business when you've got a 9-to-5, perhaps a family, hobbies, social life. How do you fit in building a business around all of that? But also, once you find some time, how do you actually use that time as productively as possible? So that was yesterday's episode. So if that's something that you've been struggling with, do go and check that one out. And then I've left my favorite for last, and the last one is marketing. So you've got this business, you've got this great idea, you feel super passionate about it, you've been pouring your heart and soul and many hours into creating content and setting up Facebook pages and Facebook groups and this, that and the other, and no one is listening, and it just feels like you're talking to yourself, and there is nothing more disheartening. So marketing, basically, how do you get yourself out there? How do you build an audience? How do you increase your online visibility so people know you exist? Because if they don't know you exist, they're not going to buy anything from you. So let's talk about that. So first of all, the frustration of not knowing where to start, and of that sense of the feeling like no one's listening. It can be very disheartening. In fact, so disheartening that in many cases, it's people will just give up because they will try. No one's listening. This isn't working. Okay, I'm done. And that's easily, it's completely understandable because in many cases, it does take time. It does take consistency, and it's a lot more difficult than it can sometimes appear. Today, I've got about 5 tips for you as to how you can really nail your marketing and how it can feel less overwhelming. Because another thing about marketing is sometimes it can completely consume us, especially things like social media. You can actually spend all of the time that you have on marketing, so that you actually never get around to the other stuff that's really key when it comes to actually making sales, like creating your products and services, and like actually selling them, because marketing is different to selling. Marketing is letting people know that you exist, letting people know what you have to offer, and selling is actually then that final step of, you know, exchanging cash and getting people to buy from you. But that's not all marketing is. So first of all, I want to talk to you about the 4 P's of marketing. So the 4 P's of marketing, checking my notes as always to make sure I don't get this wrong. Product. So of course, you need to have something to market, whether it be a product or a service. So first of all, understanding what it is that you're actually marketing. What service, what product are you putting out there for people to see? Then price. So you need to know what that's worth, what you're going to charge for it, and why. You need to be able to justify the cost. Now, something that I came across in a course fairly recently, which had never actually occurred to me, is that actually you need to make sure that you are marketing the value of what you're selling at much more than the actual price it is, because there was an experiment. I think someone did this in a TED talk or something like that, where they called out to the audience and they said, okay, I've got a £10 note here. Will someone come up and swap me this £10 note for 2 £5 notes? And of course, no one was interested, because why would you exchange something for something else of exactly the same value? Why would you bother? So I think one brave person went up, curious to know what it was all about, and they ended up winning something, and so of course it was made worth their while. But the point was, if you're selling something, you need to make it worth more than what you're actually charging for it, so that people will have that incentive to buy and to bother. So price is the second P. The third P is place. So this is where you're going to target. Where are you going to do your marketing? Because especially when you're just getting started with your business, you don't have the time or the resource to try and market everywhere. And so you need to be very clear about where you're going to focus your marketing efforts. And then the 4th P is promotional strategy. Catchy. So this is all about how you're going to do your marketing, what approach you're going to take, because there are tons out there. And again, you don't want to be trying everything, because you just won't get any momentum in any of them. So you need to kind of choose an approach and stick to it and be consistent with it and be clear about what you're doing, because this is probably one of the most common mistakes that people make with marketing, is that they are trying so many different things that actually they don't really do any of it enough to see any impact and to see any real results. So you need to pick what works for you, and it's going to be different depending on your personality, on your business, on what you're selling, on who your audience are. It's going to differ. So you need to find what works for you and then go with that and stick with that, put everything into that, and that's where you'll start to see the results. So that's the 4 Ps. Now I want to go into a bit more detail as to the kind of key things you need to consider when it comes to marketing. So number 1, you need to know your ideal clients, and this is key. And this is, if you don't know who your ideal clients are, you are never ever going to market successfully, because you don't know who you're talking to. It's the equivalent of me going out of my front door with a loudspeaker and just going, roll up, who wants business coaching? You know, it's just not going to work. You need to know who you are selling to, who you are marketing to, and you need to know as specifically as you can. Now, when you're just getting started out, that's very difficult, and it's to a certain extent it is a learning process. The best way to really get to know your ideal clients is to speak to as many as possible. And those who have sort of been around in my group or my page for a while will know that that's something that I've been doing a lot of over the last few weeks. And I did again about a year ago, and it's something that I try and do on an ongoing basis, because the more I speak to people who kind of fit into my ideal client category, the better I can get to understand them, to know them, to understand the challenges they're facing, and to understand the types of solution that they're looking for and that they would be willing to pay for. So really important, number one. The rest I would say are in no particular order, but this is definitely number one. Know your ideal clients and get as specific on that as you possibly can. So for me, if you've been watching my other Facebook Lives, you'll know that I struggled at the start and really getting my niche right, and in turn my ideal clients. And I knew I was focusing on small businesses, but that was it. And I really, really struggled until I was able to get more specific and to kind of niche down, I hate that term, to people who are still working a 9 to 5, people who want to break free from their 9 to 5, and who are in the early stages of an online business doing something that they love. Okay, so that's number one, know your ideal clients. Number two is nail your message. And this comes with knowing who your ideal clients are. So once you know who your ideal clients are, you know how to speak to them, because it's going to depend on what type of people they are. If you're targeting, middle-aged professionals, you're going to probably speak to them in a very different way to millennials and so on. You need to know who those ideal clients, to know how to speak to them, but also to know what to say to them and what your actual message to them is. Because once you know who they are, you know what their challenges are, then you can start to create your products and services, and you know how to sell them and how to market them to them. One of the kind of sort of top strategies for this that you may have already come across is actually, when you talk to your ideal clients, repeating back the type of language that they use to you in your marketing. Listen to how they describe their challenges, listen to how they describe their feelings around those challenges, listen to how they describe the solutions to those challenges and what they wish they had and what they wish they could do, and use that language back in your marketing, because that's how you will really resonate with people. Number three, understand the customer journey. Now, this is quite an important one. Well, it's a very important one as well, and it's one I don't see coming up very often. It's well worth saying. We forget that when we're marketing to people, people go through a journey to buying something. You don't very, very rarely do you just snap buy something from someone you don't know or have had nothing to do with, without going through a journey. Sometimes you can go through that journey very quickly, but you are still going through a journey. And essentially, the customer journey is the same as, and you may have heard of this before, know, like, and trust. So in order to buy something from someone, you have to know they exist. You then have to actually like them, because if you don't like them, it's very unlikely that you're going to part with your cash and buy something from them. And you also then have to trust them, because again, without that feeling of trust, it's unlikely that you're going to part with your money for whatever they're offering, because you wouldn't trust that it's going to provide what you want or be a fair exchange or whatever. So understanding that plays a key part in successful marketing, because it helps you to understand that you need to talk to people in a different way, and you need to approach your marketing in a different way, depending on what stage people are on that journey. So first of all, you will have marketing that allows you to reach people who don't know you exist. That's one type of marketing. So you're actually trying to get yourself out there to people who don't even know you're there yet. But then once people know you exist, you then want to take them on that journey. So you want to help them to like you. Start to just grow that relationship a bit. And then ultimately you want them to trust you. And so you want to deepen the relationship further. And so you're taking people on a journey with your marketing. And by understanding that, it helps you to market much more effectively. So know the customer journey and be aware of it when you're doing your marketing and when you're planning your marketing activities. Fourthly, everything has a purpose, I've put, and by that I mean when you're basically, any content that you create is ultimately marketing. It could be a blog post, it could be a social media post, it could be a tweet. I know that is a social media post. It could be a sales page, it could be an about me page. Any type of content that you are creating for your business is a form of marketing, because it's content that potential customers will see and will judge you on and decide whether they want to know more or whether they don't want to know more. So any content that you are creating, you need to be aware that it has to have a purpose. Don't just create content for the sake of creating content. And generally speaking, that purpose is going to be either to help people to get to know you, to get to like you more, or to get to trust you. That's a very basic way of putting it, but ultimately it's that. But also, you're going to want to think about the next step that you want to take them on, and make sure that when you're creating content, you're making that next step very clear for them, so that there should always be a purpose to your content. So for example, if your content is to help people know you exist, what would be that next step for them? So for example, let's say it's a blog post. So someone's found your blog post. Your next step for them might be, okay, now you've seen my content and you like it, how about signing up for my email list? Because that gives me an opportunity to continue our relationship and to deepen that relationship. So for them, the next step would be signing up for your email list, and you would offer them a great lead magnet in return, and so on. And then once you've got them on your email list, you might want to help them get to know you better. And so your first email might suggest that they go and like your Facebook page or something like that. And basically, with each contact, with each piece of content, you're giving them the next step, and you're making it very clear, so that you're helping them down that journey towards the sale. So yes, and point number 4, everything should have a purpose. Whenever you're creating content, always think, why am I creating this content? What is the purpose of this content? Make sure that you're clear on that, and then make sure you help your customers or potential customers to be clear on that too. And then number 5, find your voice. Marketing, the most effective type of marketing is marketing, especially these days, which comes across as natural and as sleazy, for want of a better word. Marketing, when you hear the word marketing, I think automatically now people approach marketing, or the idea of marketing, rather cynically, because there has been so much kind of over the top, salesy, sleazy marketing stuff out there. And actually, it doesn't need to be like that. And in fact, it probably shouldn't be like that, especially when you're marketing a personal brand. What you're really doing is marketing yourself. And in order to do that, you need to be yourself, and you need to find a voice that is you, and not you trying to be someone else, or you trying to be a marketer, or anything like that. Just be you. Find a voice that suits you, find a voice that suits your ideal clients, and try and stay true to that, because you'll find it much easier than sort of putting on another voice or pretending to be someone you're not, or anything of that. It can feel quite tempting to do that, especially if you are suffering from imposter syndrome, where you feel like you're not worthy, so I better pretend that, well, I couldn't make the sale, so I'll pretend to be so-and-so who's already really successful. And if I talk in the voice that they talk in, that'll work because it's worked for them. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. You need to be genuine. You need to, in order to build trust, which is that key element as part of this journey, you need to be genuine, because if you're not genuine, people will see through it and they won't trust you. So find your voice, and make it genuine. Make it natural to you, and you'll be amazed what a difference that can make in your marketing as well. So I hope that's helped. Let me whiz through those again. First of all, know your ideal clients, very important. Nail your message, so get really clear on what it is you're going to do for those ideal clients. What is it you want to tell them? What are you offering them? What results are you offering them? And what language are you going to use to describe those results? Number 3, understand the customer journey. So be really aware of the fact that you shouldn't be treating everyone the same. People are going to be going on a journey, and you need to help them and guide them through that journey. Number 4, everything has a purpose. So whenever you're creating any content, remember, any content you create is a form of marketing, and you should be aware of what its purpose is, and you should make sure that your audience is also aware of the purpose. And then number 5, find your own voice. Don't be tempted to copy someone else, to copy their tone, to copy their language. Just be you. Find something that resonates with you and that resonates with your ideal clients. And yeah, stick to that. So I hope that has been helpful. The reason I have been going live every day this week is because of the launch of my new 30-day business breakthrough coaching. As I mentioned at the start, one of the key things that people are struggling with is knowing what to do next. And I think a lot of that comes from these 5 business blockers that I've been talking about, and they are stopping people from knowing where to focus their attentions, having the time to focus, actually focus their attentions on anything. And so I want to help people get past that. And actually, I think it doesn't necessarily have to take a lot of time. I know from personal experience, when I worked with a coach last year, in our very first session, I had a huge breakthrough in understanding what my niche should be. And just that one session made a massive difference in my own business. So I'm really passionate about helping other people have those same breakthroughs, stop feeling frustrated, stop feeling stuck, and start actually moving forward with a clear idea of what they're doing, how they're going to get from A to B. And so I have created this 25 question business blocker analysis, and I am currently recruiting guinea pigs. So I have a few already. Thank you to those people who have already scheduled a call with me. But I still have room for a few more. So if you would be interested in doing this completely free, I want to test this before I start actually selling it. Basically, what we'll do is we'll hop on a call for around an hour, and I will take you through this 25 question analysis. And based on your answers, I will put together an analysis of what the key blockers are in your business, pardon me, and then we can create a plan for you to move past them. Pardon me, sorry. So if that's something that you are interested in, I will leave a link to book a call. I'm only taking 10 people maximum. So if you are interested, I recommend jumping on quickly before those get booked up. I'm also sending this out to my email list. So there's going to be probably about 1,000 people seeing this. So if you want to be one of those 10, jump on quickly and get yours booked. But yeah, completely free, basically full analysis of what's going on in your business, what those blockers are for you, and then what you can do to get past them and have a breakthrough. And then once I've been able to test that, I can actually put that into my coaching package. And I think it's going to be really, really powerful. I'm very excited about it. So can't wait to hop on a call with you. Go book it now, and I shall speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.